Hi everyone, this is Alchemical Transmissions. I hope you guys are having a good holiday. I wanted to make a quick video about how to energy heal. I noticed a lot of people are struggling around the holidays with emotional stuff that comes up, energetic stuff that comes up from the past, um, and they're just having a lot of difficulty. So I wanted to kind of give a quick just rundown of an easy way you can start working with the things that come up instead of um, fighting back against them and suppressing them and stuff. So I just have a little list to go over, and then uh, yeah, I actually wrote out a little step by step you can follow too, just kind of like a little workbook on the side. So energy healing yourself is not as hard and difficult as a lot of different sources will say. Like, you don't need to go through a bunch of different courses and um, get like a certain certificate for having to know how to do a certain type of energy work. You don't need to do all that. That stuff works, and there's specific types of energies you can use that can address certain issues, but you really don't need it. You just need to understand the process of what energy healing actually looks like, and it's not very complicated. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. So, at the basic level, the most basic level of energy healing, what are you doing? You're just opening up to the energies, the uncomfortable energies. You're just opening up to it. And that might sound very simple, but if you looked at how you deal with a lot of uncomfortable energies that come up, our first gut reaction, our defense mechanism is to just shut down, to close off, to guard ourselves from it. Um, Instead of looking at it, instead of opening up to it and allowing it to be felt. Another thing that's important is that the flip side of that, instead of um, actually opening up to the energies and just letting it be felt, the other side of that is that we'll actually start to fall down the hole of reliving it and getting wrapped up in the story of it and thinking about a moment that maybe caused the pain, and then we're stuck in that moment and we're not actually opening up to it and letting it be felt. We're just reliving the pain of when it was caused. So it is kind of a fine line that you have to realize that you're not going down the path of reliving the pain that you felt. You're not reliving the story, is really what it is. Instead, you are recognizing that the pain and the uncomfortable energy blockage is really just a frequency that needs to be allowed to be expressed, really, because what our natural reaction is to shut down, especially when it becomes more and more intense. We don't want to experience it because it's uncomfortable. That's what it comes down to. But ironically, in doing that, we actually aren't letting it be processed. And the more that we do that and the longer that that is allowed to fester, that is when we start having a lot of emotional problems, and we start putting wedges between ourself and our soul, really, and our connection to source and God. So yeah, it's you have to get used to understanding that the frequencies of the things that are causing blockages, or the things that are uncomfortable to look at, you don't want to judge those things, because our knee-jerk reaction is to think, oh, guilt, shame, fear, I don't want anything to do with those things. I want to get away from those things. I don't want to ever feel those things. But they are a part of you. They're a reaction to things that happen to you. They're a frequency that is a part of you that wants to be expressed so it can be released in a way and return you back to baseline, which isn't those things. So when they come up, we don't want to judge them. We're not shying away from them, and we're not suppressing them. So that's the big three, probably. Because when we do those three things, we are putting a wall between us and our pain. And when we put a wall between us and our pain, you instantly become disconnected from yourself, and you become disconnected from God. Because you can't simultaneously be having those things like stuck in your field and also having a pure flowing connection with source. It just doesn't work that way. They really are sort of like dams blocking up that connection. So we don't want that to happen. So what do we do when those feelings come up? Is that we just sit with them. We open up to them and we sit with them. And what you'll start to notice when you do this, if you're doing it in a way where you're conscious of not closing yourself up when it gets uncomfortable in any way, you'll notice that these blockages and these energies start to actually release. And you'll sort of start to feel this euphoria afterwards. And you really just sit there with the blockage or the emotion, whatever that frequency is that's uncomfortable for you. You sit there with it, you remain vulnerable and open to it, and you give it space to be felt and expressed. And when you do this, the energy will start to dissipate. Because what we have to understand is that these frequencies, these harsher frequencies that we're dealing with, they're not our natural state. So they don't want to be stuck there. They're just a causality of things that have happened to us that are trying to return to our natural state. And the way we do that is by opening them up and opening up to them, and we let them be felt and heard and expressed. So we're really just sitting with the emotions. And the reason that we get stuck on our journeys or just anywhere in life, and we feel like we have these emotional blockages, is because we haven't dealt with these things for so long that they start piling up. And they start piling up so much that we don't really recognize that beautiful connection we have to God anymore. And if you think of when you're young, like really young, like 3, 4, if you think about that natural state, that just loving, creative, abundant state, everything, it can just be happiness. Before you experienced any sort of trauma or pain or things building up over time, there's just that natural state of happiness. That's not taught. That's just how we exist. And that's how we can feel all the time. But when we're not allowing these things to be processed, and it becomes years and years and years of these things building up, it becomes really hard to be happy and to just be content with ourselves, to love source or God. It becomes very difficult. So this is just a little easy few steps you can take to try to build that connection back up, to try to really get clear. But this is how a beginner can really start to work on energy healing themselves. It really is this simple at the beginning stages. Anyone can do it. So if you guys want a 11-step guide I put together, it's free. The link will be in the description or in the pinned comment, and you can just always refer back to that if you have any questions, or if you just want a little bit more of a fleshed out process of how to really tap in and let these emotions and frequencies be released properly. So I hope you guys have been enjoying your holidays and you enjoy the rest of them. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.